Bev Elliot, probably one about the oldest punks still around in London at the moment. Been around since the start. Used to work for Sounds and Noise, which was probably the most street cred sort of music bags of their time. Started out working with Gary Bushell. Total accident really. I was reading Sounds one time and there was a review of like a Discharge gig. I was reading the review and thinking, fucking hell, this gig didn't even happen. How can they review the gig? It was cancelled. I'd gone to the gig and the whole gig was like shut, and there it was in black and white. So I went charging up Sounds the next day with the review saying, you know, hey, what the fuck's going on here? It was like, okay, it's a fair cop, you're the only one who's caught us out. Turned out 90% of the whole music bags were made up, which everyone knows now, but at the time we all believed it. They said, oh, well, you're the only one who sussed us out. Fair enough. Do you want to think you can do better?
What's up?
I said, I know I can do better. So they said, okay, the next 5 gigs you go to, do a review, bring it in. If we like it, we'll print it. And that's how I got into it. So then they gave me my own column, and I was doing Punk and Disorderly for like 6-7 years, writing about new bands on the street. I probably gave so many bands their first publicity, right the way through like late 70s, right to mid 80s. It was like 10 years of just solid writing for the punk stuff. And I worked for the Performing Rights Society, helping bands with their contracts, making sure they weren't getting ripped off and stuff. Then I got fed up writing for all the English press. It got really bad. I was doing some freelance stuff for like Melody Maker and NME, which was like such shit. I mean, they lost interest in all the punk stuff, and they were like, oh, can you do this head-bangy stuff? No. And then they'd say, okay, you got to go and see this band, and you have to say they were shit. And I'm like, but I haven't seen them yet. So, it doesn't matter, you just don't even have to go, but just like they're out of favour this week, so just say they're shit. No, sorry, can't do this. So at the moment I'm writing for Maximum Rock and Roll, which is probably the biggest street cred punk magazine that's going now. It's actually based in San Francisco, but there's over 1 million readers right across America and the whole of Europe. And basically I've got licence to write whatever I want to write. It's unedited, I can say the truth. I do a scene report, I do a monthly column, I write about what's happening, what's important, good bands to see, and really I can just waffle on and talk about anything I like and what I think is sort of cool and happening, without lying, without any bullshit. And I've been doing that for a year now. But I sort of help get bands gigs, just for the hell of it, not for money. There's a few bands I've sort of helped over the ages recently, like the Stains, who've been playing here, the Casualties from New York, all goes over, Public Toys in Düsseldorf. I think the band's really good. I'll sort of go all out and do anything I can to help them, just sort of put my name for them and write about them. Walking Abortions at the moment from London, I think they're going to be a really good, happening young band. They're just still relatively young, but they've got such power and energy. So I'll do the best I can for them. Anything I can do, I'll do for them. And that's really what I do. I don't make money out of it at all. At the moment, I've got like a really shitty, boring day job. I'm doing a short-term project for EMI Music, looking into old bands. I'm working for The Clash and Stiff Little Fingers at the moment, all the old punk bands. I'm going through their back catalogues and seeing if I can find money for them. And that's my boring 9-to-5 day job, which is still cool, you know. I could be working for some fucking bank or something, which would never be me. So, I've always worked in the music business. But anything I do for the punks, I do it for free, just for the love of it. Always out of pocket, but just good fun. And that's me.
Tell me some more about the background. You said they make gigs up, gig reviews. Tell me some more behind it. What's the politics behind that? You know, why are they run like that?
Totally. Well, half the time, most of the music journos, we're talking 15 years ago, 10 years ago, it was like half the time, okay, you've got like X amount of money, say here's 20 quid. If you want to go to the gig, you can go to the gig, you're on the guest list. If you don't want to go to the gig, take your £20 and see who you really want to see and just make it up. And you can do it. A lot of the bands, they'd have the same set list. 9 out of 10 times a band would stick to the set list, they do the same chorus. You'd be like 98% of the time you know what they were going to do. And this is what happened, which is how I called them out. I think it was Discharge, it was someone like Discharge at the time, and basically they sort of said blah blah blah, they came on, they did this.
Stop pulling me wire.
That's just what I wanted.
Does that still happen today?
Well, excuse me, I just like investigate this general cadence. It's the best offer I've had all weekend. How can I refuse? Well, who I used to work with, Gary Bushell, as you may or not know, he's now gone to the Sun. And I know for a fact we're talking all like tabloid bollocks. But he'd phone me up at work and say, Bev, we've got to do 25 things you never knew about David Bowie. Help, I've got 5 minutes, make something up. That just shows you. So I'd shout out to the office, okay, can you all make up 5 things you never knew about David Bowie? This is an example. We go, yeah, he likes women's knickers, you know, yeah, you know, he's like, so he makes his teeth and strains it through tights or something. And he'd print it, the next day it'd be there in black and white. He'd put 2 real things that everyone knew, maybe 23 things that was rubbish. And that is the music press, that is tabloid papers, total. The letters page, for example. No one's got time. If you can imagine you're doing NME sounds, Melody Maker. You get like 10, 11 sackfuls coming a day. You know, you think someone's really going to sit there and read through all this to find a decent letter to print. Okay, it's your turn to sit and write a few letters for letters, but it's quicker to like sit, make something up than it is to sort of read through. So they'll put 3 or 4 real ones a week, and the rest will be total made up.
So, basically, what you said there, the entire music press is fabricated.
I'd say, at the moment, it's 50% made up totally. Absolutely. And in the old days, in the good days of punk, it was genuine, sort of late 70s, early 80s, when sounds were going. Sounds, as I say, they were probably the closest to being real. From sounds, we did noise, which was quite good. We used to do a middle page gossip column with Gary Bushell. That was cool, that was honest and open, we could just write about. It's like I'm doing now for Maximum Rock and Roll. It was genuine. The only reason I know that is because I was doing it, and I used to like double check what I'd written hadn't been changed, so it was okay. But now, I mean, there's nothing that really reflects what's going on out there. There's lots of good zines that, you know, the kids themselves are doing. Maximum Rock and Roll is the only sort of magazine I'd write for now, because I know it's like genuine and it's like read by the people who are into the stuff, and they won't change what I write. So there's nothing actually out there. I mean, Kerrang was the spin-off from Noise, which is total heavy metal. They're trying to pretend they're into punk. They do a little tiny bit of coverage. But, I mean, again, they're like, to them, Rancid are like the punk band, which anyone who's around now, we don't take them as cred anyway. They're different. They're, you know, the MTV punks, I think. They had their day, and now they're just, you know, Rancid offspring. You know, it's like metal crossover. They're different punks. But then each to their own. Got no problem, you know, Rancid turned out a good LP, but 99% of the kids here this weekend wouldn't even look twice at them. Don't count them as punks at all. So, you know, it's really weird. There isn't anything at all. Melody Maker will suddenly jump on the bandwagon now. Oh, the Pistols are reformed. They'll give them a bit of coverage because it suits them. You get something like Q magazine writing about punks, just because it's like maybe 2% of their audience may have been a punk at one time. I think, okay, it will sell a few copies. I've been approached by them and said, will you do an article for us? I'm like, we're like, fuck, you know. When I need the money, when I wanted to do it, and, you know, do it solidly, you don't want to know. And now, because it's like a sudden one-off again, you want to like get me to do something? No, I won't do it. So basically, I'd rather write for nothing, do it out of pocket, just for the hell of it, because I can, you know, say the truth who I really want to know. There's no one out there at all now that I'd write for. Maximum.
Alright. So, what to you is the best thing that came out of punk?
Me. No. Oh, it's probably be dead by now if it wasn't for punk out of boredom. I mean, it's kept us all going. It just gave us all new life. Everyone's got something different out of punk, I'd say. You can't put it into words. I mean, for me, loads of the kids here this weekend are going, why is your hair flat? You know, I'm like, what, you know, if you gotta have a mohawk, you gotta have a big hawk, you gotta have a 12-foot high hawk, and it's like, if you're a punk, it's here. You don't have to explain it, you just are, and you just know. I mean, for me, it's been my life for over half my years, you know. It's just something that's kept me going. It came along, knocked me over, and it's kept me going. And I'm getting old and I can feel it, but you know, what else is there? What else is there for me to do? You know, I'll always be the same. Hair's falling out. we're older, and I'd like to say wiser, but it's like older and wider. We all are older and wider. And we'll keep going. The ones that are really into it, we're still here, and we will be ad infinitum. And some people think it's sad, they're like the old Teds or something and all this, but whatever, you know, we're still here and we're still doing it. And this weekend just shows it's obviously still around. Unfortunately now there's more people here from the rest of Europe and America than there are from England even, which is a bit of a sad reflection, but what the hell, you know, it's still going in the world. I don't care where they're from, as long as we can meet up and do stuff like this, it's cool. So, I mean, for me it's a sense of unity and coming together of like minds. The music is hell of important, but at the end of the day it's just good to hang out with people that think the same as you and, you know, a sense of unity and coming together. That's for me.
So what would you say was the worst thing that came out of punk?
Worst thing? Fucking hell. I can't even think of a worst thing. Shit, there is no worst thing. I mean, punk was just good the whole way through. There's been some bad times. When we first started, we used to have a lot of problems with the skinheads. I mean, we're talking a long while ago. You'd go see Adam and the Ants, and you'd have to like run out the back door because there was a time when, okay, all the skinheads would go, we have to beat up the Adam and the Ants fans. They're all faggots. They must be all gay. You know, it's like, what? We started off with the Teds. You'd go and see the Pistols, and they'd be like, the Teds would be okay. Let's slice them. You know, we all had trouble with them, and it was the skinheads. I mean, now it's great because in Europe, punks and skins unite, and that's how it should be. Everyone gets on. The scene's sort of got so small that everyone has to stick together, otherwise it disappear. I mean, there was some real violent times in the old days. That was scary, but not enough to put us off doing it. You know, most of us, I'd say 99% of punks aren't into the violence at all. We're there for the music, to have fun. And it got pretty hairy. But I can't think of one like bad thing to come out of it. So for me, there's been not one bad thing. Absolutely not.
So you mentioned on the point that it could end up like the Teddy Boy movement, where it just looks plain ridiculous.
Some people really, you know, some people think that now. It's true. I've had a few comments. People have been saying, you know, oh, don't you think this is really sad? You know, and I'm like, well, if I thought it was sad, I wouldn't be here. The day I think it's sad, I won't be here. You know, you have to feel right and do it. I mean, like I say, okay, I don't spike my hair up every day anymore. Like, one, I can't afford fucking hairspray, and two, I can't afford the hair, you know. I mean, it gets to the point where I'm losing more hair than I wish to admit. Right, you know. But it doesn't matter what you look like, as I say. I mean, there's some kids here who are like, I say, you know, they dress how they think they should dress, and that's fine. Go for it. I've got no problem. But for me, you know, I feel how I feel, and I look how I look, and that's just cool. It's an attitude, and it's like a sense of mind and a sense of heart. It's not, you don't think that you should dress like this. But I mean, the genuine punks, and they know who they are, they should have no problem. There's so many segregations, you know, they say there's the crass punks, there's the oi punks and all this rubbish. Punk's just punk, it doesn't matter. It just is, and no one could explain it. You don't have to, you don't put it into words, but you know, if you've got it here and here, that's it. It's not something you should like really start saying, oh, you know, tell me what's punk mean to you, because you can't. Just feel it. And I hope it comes across.
That was the final question. What does punk mean to you?
Yeah. Totally. To me, it's just my life. And that is it. It's life itself. Totally.